Elissa Slotkin thought this was her moment to shine. Take a look.
Have you authorized the uniformed military to detain or arrest protesters in Los Angeles?
You're not a protester if you're throwing concrete
100%.
at law
Arrest those
enforcement
people.
officers.
Throw them in the jail.
During a Senate hearing, the senator kept pushing her agenda that was purely based on speculation. But Hegseth wouldn't take the bait and was quick to shut her down.
Please tell me it's no. Have you given the order?
Senator, I'd be careful what you read in books and believing it, except for the Bible.
Oh my God.
And today, we're covering it all. So, if you believe truth isn't partisan, hit that subscribe button. Let's jump right into it.
Mr. Secretary, I said in your hearing, when you had your confirmation hearing, that my biggest concern with you at the helm was the potential use of the military in ways that contradict the Constitution or that taint what I hope we all want, which is an apolitical military. And when I asked you about whether you would accept an order that was actually given to your predecessor, Secretary Esper, Trump's SecDef, to deploy active duty troops against unarmed protesters and to, in Secretary Esper's words, shoot at them, shoot at their legs. You said this was all theoretical. Here we are, a few months later, you've deployed 4,700 troops to Los Angeles and against the wishes of the governor. And my colleague across the aisle was right. It is the first time since 1965 that we have deployed Guard troops without the permission of the governor. So you may dismiss it, but I feel like this is a fundamental issue of American democracy. If you love your country and you want an apolitical military, then it should be the last resort, not the first resort in our country to use them.
Now, Slotkin is so committed to keeping the military apolitical that she was one of the 6 Democrats who put out the infamous video urging service members to refuse illegal orders, without explaining what those orders were or if any even existed. For anyone who doesn't know her background, she's a former CIA analyst who also held senior security advisory roles under both Bush and Obama. So she definitely knows a lot about running PsyOps. That's why she leaned on her anecdote about Trump telling Secretary Esper to shoot at BLM protesters, which only appears in Esper's book and nowhere else. And after everything we learned from Russiagate, anyone with common sense should be skeptical of lone claims like that. From there, Elissa shifted into full theatrics, trying to grill Hegseth about decisions made during the LA federal deployment. Before we play that, a quick reminder. We just launched our merch store. It's amazing. You're going to love it. And every purchase helps us continue bringing you stories the media tries to bury. So make sure to check it out by clicking on the link in the description. Now, back to the video.
So to get to the non-theoretical, have you authorized the uniformed military to detain or arrest protesters in Los Angeles?
Senator, I would just start by saying you're not a protester if you're throwing concrete
100%.
at law
Arrest those
enforcement
people.
officers.
Throw them in the jail. 100%. But what you're doing is something different. Everyone knows this is a political decision, right? So we don't trust that you're using the best interests of the military, certainly, and of democracy on top of that. So have you given the order? That's all I want to know. It's not theoretical. For the U.S. military, not law enforcement. They can arrest all day long. That's their job. Do they have the ability, the uniformed military, to arrest and detain protesters currently today? It's a yes or no thing. Authority.
It's sort of amusing the extent to which the speculation is out there. These troops are given very clear orders.
Then what is the order? Then list it out for us. Be a man. List it out. Did you authorize them to detain or arrest? That is a fundamental issue of democracy. I'm not trying to be a snot here.
Now, you can debate the legality of these deployments all day long. The last time a president federalized the National Guard for riot control was Bush Sr. in 1992. Ironically, in LA as well. But turning this into a soap opera about what orders the deployed troops supposedly received is pure theater. A simple search pulls up countless reports making the limits crystal clear. CNN noted, quote, "They are prohibited from conducting law enforcement activity such as making arrests." CBS also wrote, "The Marines don't have arrest authority and are there to protect federal property and federal personnel." So, Democrats could have stuck to the cleaner argument that the deployment itself was highly unusual. Instead, They went for maximum drama, tossing out claims with nothing solid behind them because it sounded better on camera.
Did you authorize them to do that?
All of these orders and what they're sent there to do are public. They are
Okay,
there
so
to...
say it. So say it. Yes or no?
I'd like to.
Please, yes or no?
As I've said time and time again through interruption, they're there to protect law enforcement,
Do they have
ICE
the ability
officers
to arrest?
who are trying to do their job,
Okay.
deporting illegals who were allowed in by the previous
So
administration.
they cannot arrest and detain citizens of the United States, the uniformed military.
As we've
is that right?
stated, if necessary, in their own self-defense, they could temporarily
Okay.
detain and
Have
hand
you-
over to ICE. But
have
there's no
you given-
arresting going
have
on.
you-
And you know this better than
You're
you're trying to play political games.
Have you authorized U.S. military cyber tools to investigate people participating in these protests? Yes or no?
Certainly in no way that I'd be aware of.
Okay, that's good. I love that answer. That's great.
Now, here's where her CIA background really shows. With a sudden shift to surveillance questions, even though Hegseth denied it, let's be honest. The idea that no one in that crowd was monitored is hard to believe, given what we've learned about government surveillance over the years. What's even more telling is how Slotkin seems to be taking notes from Jasmine Crockett's playbook. The dramatic tone, the forced outrage, the grandstanding. It's all the same routine. Probably because it brings in donors in today's political climate. And she kept leaning into it, question after question, until Pete finally had enough and shut down her entire act with a single line saying this.
Have you given the order to be able to shoot at unarmed protesters in any way? I'm just asking the question. Don't laugh. Like the whole country. And by the way, my colleagues
What is
across
that
the
based
aisle.
on? What evidence would you
It
have
is
that an
based
order
on
like that
Donald
has ever
Trump
been given?
giving that order to your predecessor, to a Republican Secretary of Defense, who I give a lot of credit to because he didn't accept the order. He had more guts and balls than you because he said, I'm not going to send in the uniformed military to do something that I know in my gut isn't right. He was asked to shoot at their legs. He wrote that in his book. That's not hearsay. So you're poo-pooing of this. It just shows you don't understand who we are as a country. Who we are. And all of my colleagues across the aisle, especially the ones that served, should want an apolitical military. Have you given the order? Have you given the order that they can use lethal force against honor? I want the answer to be no. Please tell me it's no. Have you given the order?
Senator, I'd be careful what you read in books and believing it, except for the Bible.
Oh my God.
Now first, there's no such thing as a Republican Secretary of Defense or a Democrat one. The moment the Senate confirms someone, they become the United States Secretary of Defense. Using partisan labels for roles that are supposed to stay above politics only drags the military into the mud. Second, it's actually good that she admitted her entire claim rested on a single book. As mentioned earlier, nothing beyond that anecdote has ever been confirmed. And that says everything about where our politics are today. She could have delivered a real line of tough, substantive questions and walked away looking serious. Instead, she went out for performance, hoping it would land better than the facts. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this story. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, keep thinking.